It was a typical Thursday evening, one that was about to become anything but typical. My wife, Anna, and I were working together in the kitchen, as we often did when preparing dinner. She was chopping onions, and I was cutting cheese and ham into small cubes for our omelet. Then, she said something that caught my attention. "Brad, we've been married for almost 7 years, and we've always been completely honest with each other, haven't we?" I paused, knife in hand, and replied, "Of course." We agreed honesty was one of the most important parts of our relationship before we said yes to each other. She turned away from the counter and looked at me thoughtfully. "I've met someone," she said. The hair on the back of my neck stood up as if I had just been electrocuted. "You met someone? What does that mean?" I asked, even though deep down I already feared I knew the answer. "A guy at work. A really nice guy. I had lunch with him." My mind raced, but I kept my voice steady. "I'm assuming there's more to the story, so carry on. Are you telling me you met a really nice guy at work, had lunch with him, and you like him, maybe really like him?" A guilty expression flashed across her face. She looked away, nodded slowly, and whispered, "Yes." Suddenly, I didn't want an omelet or anything at all. In fact, I felt sick to my stomach, but I had to keep talking. I dropped the knife onto the cutting board and leaned against the table, trying to steady myself. "How far did things go between you and this really nice guy?" There was tension in my voice as I asked. She retreated to the counter, taking a step back. "We just had lunch every day for a few weeks. We had dinner last week when you had that late-night business meeting." I felt a lump form in my throat. "Did you two hold hands? Kiss? Do anything more than that?" Her face went pale and she nodded again. "We kiss." A wave of nausea rose in my chest and I almost choked on it. "Did you have sex with him?" She glanced at me quickly before shaking her head. "No." The shock of her response stunned me, and I had to sit down, pushing my chair back with force. "So you haven't slept with him yet, but you're planning to?" She nodded again. "I guess I am. He wants me to go away with him for the weekend." I felt a sickening tightness in my chest. "And you're going?" She hesitated before answering. "I don't want to upset you, but I need to figure out what he means to me." "I'm sorry, Brad. I know you're hurting and I hate it, but I told him I'd go with him. I couldn't sneak out without telling you. We've always been so honest with each other about everything." My mind was racing. "Can I ask where you two are going?" "Las Vegas," she said quietly. I swallowed hard. "Sharing a room, I assume?" She looked at me, almost apologetically. "He says he booked a room. Big spender." "I'm sure he thinks very highly of you," I said, the words dripping with sarcasm. "When are you leaving?" "Tomorrow morning." "Wow. You sure waited until the last second to tell me, huh?" "I waited, Brad, because I had to be absolutely sure." I almost laughed, but it came out more like a stifled sob. "That was very thoughtful of you, Anna. Does he know you're married?" "Of course. I always wear my wedding rings." "Do me a favor," I said, struggling to keep my voice calm. "Don't wear them when you're in his bed in Las Vegas." And a look taken aback. "I talk about you all the time when I'm with him." "Oh, I'm sure you've told him lots of great things about me, like how I'm as good a guy as he is, but a little boring in bed, and how I leave nail clippings on the carpet and all the little things that made you leave me." She looked shocked. "I've never said anything bad about you, Brad. Not enough to stop you from going away with him for a sex-filled weekend. You love me, but not enough lately, huh?" She seemed lost, her voice weak. "Don't know. I'm confused." "So, you jump into the arms of this really nice guy who knows you're married but doesn't care? Is this me clarifying the situation for you? Or are you still confused? A few days and nights in Vegas with him, in his arms and his bed, to figure things out?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm on the pill, Brad, so I don't need condoms." "Did your really good boyfriend get tested for STDs recently?" "He's not like that, Brad. He hasn't been with a woman in over 2 years. That's what he says, but I'll bet you $1 million that's not true. He's after you, Anna. He sees a beautiful, sexy, married woman, and he wants her. It's the perfect game for guys like him. Steal a beautiful married woman and make the pathetic husband a cuckold." She wins, but I pressed on. "If I'm right and he hasn't been tested, you may find out that what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. Something might follow you home in a very unpleasant way. Is this nice guy your boss?" I asked, a sick feeling twisting in my gut. No, he's the boss of my bosses. I shook my head. So you're really selling out, huh? She didn't respond, but her silence said everything. I don't know what I'm doing, Brad, but I want to find out, and how rude you're being to me isn't helping. She looked at me, her frustration rising. I'm not going to help you stop me from going off with another man for a hot weekend in Vegas. Anna, let me ask you something. If I beg you not to leave, if I get on my knees and beg you to stay with me, will you do it? She dropped her eyes to the floor and shook her head. I can't, Brad. I told Stan I'd go with him, and I can't break my word. At least now I knew his name. Wow. I see you can easily break the sacred vows you made to me 7 years ago, but you can't break your promise to Stan. Is that true? I'm sorry, Brad. I don't want to hurt you, but I have to do this for me. Please try to understand. Right then, I realized I had lost her. My pain gave me an idea, a parting shot. It wouldn't change her mind, but it might make her think about the consequences of her actions. I stood up and walked toward the basement door. Wait here. I want to show you something, then I'll get out of your way so you can get ready to go. I went down to the basement, rummaged around until I found the Halloween props I was looking for. I opened our wall safe, pulled out a piece of paper, grabbed a hammer and nails, and brought everything into the kitchen. Anna stared at me like I had lost my mind when she saw me dragging the small wooden coffin we use for Halloween decorations up the stairs. What's that for? Just a minute of fun. We've been together a long time, and before we're done, I want to show you something. I set the 3-foot wooden coffin on the kitchen table, accidentally knocking the ham and cheese I was working on off the cutting board and onto the floor. It's a coffin. Well, a cheap Halloween prop, but still a coffin. I placed a lid next to it. This is a hammer, and these are nails. When I showed her the hammer, she started to get nervous. And this, I said, pulling the marriage certificate from the safe, is our marriage license. I opened the coffin, placed the certificate inside, and shut the lid. Brad, what are you doing? Put our marriage license back where you found it. Why, Anna? It doesn't mean anything anymore, does it? It's where it belongs in the coffin. Ready for burial. She started crying again. What are you talking about, Brad? It's proof that we're married. Bang, bang, bang. I picked up the last nail and placed it in the fourth and final corner of the coffin lid. Bang. I struck it once to get it firmly embedded in the wood. This is the fourth nail, Anna. You've heard the expression about the final nail in the coffin, the one that seals it for all eternity, the one that irrevocably decides the fate of whoever or whatever is inside. I let the words sink in, watching her face crumble. That last nail isn't fully hammered in yet, I continued, but our marriage is in that coffin. So, when you walk out that door tomorrow morning to go to Las Vegas with that really nice guy, Stan, that last nail will be driven in, and our life together will be over. Irreconcilably, irrevocably. Her eyes widen with disbelief. That's not what you mean. Brad, you can't throw us away over one indiscretion. I'm not throwing us away. Anna, you are. My voice cracked with the weight of the words. I loved you with every fiber of my being. You were the most beautiful, sexiest woman I've ever known. It's been an honor to have you as my wife for the past 7 years. But no, I'm not the one leaving us. If I could, I'd climb into that coffin with the proof of our marriage and be buried with it. She stood there, silent, tears flowing freely. But I had to ask, just to drive the knife deeper, and just to satisfy my curiosity. When I look in the luggage you're packing, will I find sexy panties, bras, and maybe a beautiful negligee you bought just for this occasion? Anna didn't answer. She just kept crying, but the look on her face told me everything. That's what I thought, I said bitterly. I'm leaving now. I don't want to be here to witness your final act of betrayal. I'll go back. Grab what I need to get through the next couple of weeks after you leave with Stan. If you have any extra time in Vegas, though, I suspect you'll be too busy warming Stan's bed to think about anything else. But still, maybe you'll consider what items in the house you'd like to keep. I won't be here when you get back, but my lawyer will contact you in a week or two. I grabbed my jacket, walked out the door, and got into my car. I drove away, not caring where I was headed. I had just lived through the worst night of my life, and I felt numb, dead inside. I had no idea where I was going, and at that moment, I didn't care. I just needed to leave.